single morning and shares with us, and Mamish takes their time and teaches us. We have such a Karasatov and gives us so many different opportunities to grow in so many different ways. So thank you so much. On that note, I'd like to thank Shulamis Muller. I'd like to thank Eliza Cohen, who brought her in. Shulamis Muller was born, raised, and is currently living in Denver, Colorado. She is a mother of 6 children, Kinei Nahora, ranging from ages 20 to 5, while Baruch Hashem. She is passionate about understanding human behavior and self-awareness as it applies to personal growth. She's primarily a homemaker and is a doula, life coach, and mentor on the side. So with that, I'd like to present to you Shalom. Welcome, Shalom. Thank you so much for coming in. We so appreciate it. Are you there? Is she there?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. I am sitting outside, so if there's too much background noise, please let me know and I will go inside. Just that here in Denver, it's a little early and everyone in my house is still sleeping. So first of all, I just want to say this is such a beautiful group, and I was so inspired this morning, just getting on early and listening to the beautiful things that you were saying, and the davening and the tehillim. One of the topics that I'm going to be speaking at is Ezahu Ashir, like who is wealthy, and I just feel like we are so wealthy. Kal Yisrael is so wealthy. We have Hashem who takes care of us, who watches over us, who we can turn to with anything and everything. And the expression of tefillah to him this morning, the singing, Idu es Hashem b'simcha, bo lefanav b'nana, it just brought me back to the, I think, London Perche Boys Choir record that I used to listen to when I was a little girl. And it just made me happy. And I just feel so grateful to be a part of that. I was asked to join it to speak. And I'm grateful to just be a part of Kal Yisrael and Hashem's nation. So first of all, I'd like to start by thanking Eliza Cohen for asking me to speak. And I'm going to go into my topic, which is who is wise, who is strong, and who is wealthy. Ezahu Gibar, Ezahu Chacham, Ezahu Gibar, and Ezahu Ashir. So on a surface level, when Ben Zoma asks these questions, our human nature is to automatically assume that when he's talking about Ezahu Chacham, who is wise, we're talking about intellectual intelligence. And when we're talking about somebody who is Ezahu Gibor, somebody who is strong, we would think that we're talking about somebody who is physically, has a lot of physical strength. And when we think about who is wealthy, Ezahu Ashir, we're thinking about somebody who has financial strength. But if you were to take 2 people who had the equal amount of intellectual intelligence, and one of them is just somebody who knows all of information and that's what he spouts all day long, and somebody else has the same intellectual intelligence but is an observer of others, and he observes people and comes to new conclusions, we would all agree that the one who observes others is somebody who is more of a chacham, more wise. And the same is true if we would take 2 people who have the same physical strength, and one of them displays willpower and the other one doesn't, we would say that the one who does display willpower is somebody who is stronger than the one who doesn't. And if we would take 2 people of equal financial status, and we would have one who is very stressed out and always worried and concerned and on top of all of his equities, and the other one is calm and grateful and focused on others, we would say that the one who is calm and grateful and focused on others, he is the one who is wealthy. So really, on a deeper level, when we're looking at who is wise, Ezahu Chacham, Ezahu Gibar, and Ezahu Ashir, we're really looking on a deeper level of a Chacham being somebody who can observe from other people and learn from others. Halomed Mikal Adam, who learns from others, and he is somebody who really has acquired Chachma, wisdom, and that somebody who is strong, Hakovesh Yisra, somebody who's able to overcome his Yetzer, somebody who's able to display willpower, somebody who's able to have patience and calmness in a difficult situation. He is somebody who is truly strong. And Ezehu Ashir, who is wise, who is wealthy, is somebody who's truly grateful for what he has in life and not looking at what he doesn't have, but focusing on what he does have. So we see this playing out in our everyday lives. It's very inspiring when we think about like a 1-year-old child who is learning how to walk, and he gets up and tries to take a few steps and tries to stand straight and falls down time and time and time again and does not give up and just keeps on persevering. That's it's a Musar Haskell for us to look at and to learn from, to be able to apply what we see in other people and the chachma that we get from other people, to apply that to our lives. And then with who is strong, Ezehu Gibar. So my example, I think, of Ezehu Gibar is a mother who allows her children to make pancakes and just is standing by and watching how the batter is poured into the pan, and it's, some of it spills on the counter, and then waiting for the child to decide that it's time to flip the pancake, and flips it and it bends over in half, or it doesn't flip over well, et cetera, and just being able to sit back and allow the child to experience what the child needs to experience in order for them to learn and to grow and to become healthy adults. That is somebody who has gevura, to be able to be more of an observer and an observer and like a coach than actually needing to do everything, let's say, for a child. And then when we look at Ezehu Ashir, who is wealthy, then we think about somebody who is grateful for everything that they have in their lives, and they're deeply happy with everything that they have in their lives. Then they are really somebody who's wealthy and is something to look up to. So I want to just go through these three midos and bring in some personal examples, just so that it's easier to relate to. And then talk about how to, and with these examples, to try to talk about how do we integrate these ideas into our lives so that we can work on them ourselves. So when I think about Ezehu Chacham, Halomid Mikal Adam, so on a more light level, I think about the cartoon of Calvin and Hobbes. So we have this Calvin who has an incredible imagination and sees things in a very distinctly unique, childish, dramatic way. And he's living in a world that is full of adults that don't get it and don't see him, from his tiger to looking outside his window and, having like a nice landscape of Utah in front of him, to the moon, to, in school, everything with his friends. Like he's in his own world. And when we think about like learning from other people, many times we have to step out of our own life and ourselves and step into somebody else to really see what's going on in the world and in their world, and what can I learn from them. So that's just on a lighter note, but on a personal level, when I think about Ezehu Chacham Halomid Mikal Adam, so the idea that I want to bring across is sometimes we learn something and it's very incredible and inspiring, and we really can apply it to our lives, but we get stuck in that, like, that is the only way, or that is the only solution, instead of being able to like open our eyes and diversify a little bit. So I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have heard of Dina Friedman and the mastery classes that she's given. So I've taken her course for many, many years. And in her course, she taught us something called the DeMartini method, which was created by Dr. John DeMartini. And Dr. DeMartini he breaks up life into 7 different areas. he breaks it up into spiritual, which would be our relationship with Hashem, mental, which would be like the things that we enjoy learning about and understanding. Vocational is how we spend our time. Familial is our family. Financial is our financial well-being. Social is our social interactions, and physical is our physical health. And anyway, so he has an incredible method, which is very powerful, which I'm not going to go into right now. But basically, his method is the idea behind the DeMartini method is that equal to any challenge that we have in life, there's an equal amount of bracha in that challenge. And when we go through each area of life and we think about how that challenge has helped enhance each area of life, then that can help us see how we've grown and what we've learned and what we've gained. And that helps us become more, that helps us balance our perception of like a challenge not only being bad, but having its positive elements to it and factors as well. And his approach was like very, like when I learned it, it was like, oh my goodness, like all the puzzle pieces of life kind of came together for me. And I really started applying that idea to everything, meaning every single experience I went through was like, okay, so what's the benefit? What's the benefit? What's the benefit? And as I was talking to other people, I would only like, focus on like his modality of working through something. And one of the things that his modality the method does not really give attention to is like our emotions and how we're feeling. And it took me a few years for me to realize that, like, this method is very powerful and it's definitely moved me forward in my life, but it hasn't dealt with my emotions, which is an issue. And being able to like open myself up to listening to other people and talking to other people and gaining from other people and learning that like there are different modalities, and let's say like working through the emotional things and approaching things from a more emotional perspective and seeing what we can learn from our emotions. So that was like something that I personally had to go from, like, becoming a chacham a little bit and like, being a little bit more expansive and learning new things. So the same is true. I'm sure that you can just apply to your own lives in your own way. And then Gevura, strength. So when I think about Gevura, I always think about Viktor Frankl. I think about a lot of things, but I think about how do we work on developing Gevura? How do we work on developing like that strength, that willpower, that ability to stop and before reacting? And I think about Viktor Frankl, who says that between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our power to choose what lies our power to choose. That's the end of the sentence. But I would like to explain it that like when something happens and how we're going to respond to it, there might be a millisecond, but we have the power to take that millisecond of time and expand it to a second, to 10 seconds, to a minute, to a half an hour, to an hour, to a day, to a week, to a month, to a year, to however much we want to expand it to, so that we create a little space and we can think about, how do I want to respond to this? Do I want to react, or do I want to respond in a calm way? Do I want to like explode and just have an automatic reaction, or do I want to like think about the big picture here and how I really want to respond? And that to me is a very powerful tool, an idea to think about in trying to develop Gevura, inner strength. And I remember when I was trying to work on like not reacting immediately to my kids when they said something or they did something. And I mean, this is years ago, but I remember like just like literally biting my tongue and like crying because I wanted to explode and I wasn't letting myself explode, because I needed to create that space. I needed to be able to like see something happen or see my kids do something and not automatically yell at them, because it's just not have an automatic reaction. And this idea of from Viktor Frankl has been very, very powerful for me. And it plays out in all my relationships, obviously with my children, with my spouse, with my friends and just and any interaction that I have, just like be quiet, observe, think about how I want to respond, etc. Okay. And then hey Ezahu Ashir, who is happy. So we've all heard about having gratitude, and sometimes when life is throwing us a lot of curveballs and we're having a lot of challenges, it's very hard to have gratitude. And it's very hard to think about, like, how is being grateful for the fact that I have a roof over my head or that I have food to eat, how is that going to like really, help me develop a deep state of gratitude? But the truth is that I really think that starting with the small things is really what gets us to the bigger things and the bigger things. And when we have kavanah, when we're having gratitude, not just like, oh, thank you Hashem for this, thank you Hashem for that, but really thinking about, like I think about during COVID, which I'm sorry that I'm bringing up COVID because I feel like everyone brings it up and it's just like, okay, we've heard enough about it already. But when I think about, this pandemic and how the difficult experiences that our ancestors went through and the starvation and the pandemics that they had and the war and the fact that like we all had roofs over our heads, we all had food to eat, even if it was minimal, even when we went to the store and there was barely any food on the shelves. We had a means of communication. There was so much that we had, and there was so much to be grateful for, even during a very, very difficult experience. So I'm sure this is an idea that you all know about, that you've all experienced and you've all practiced. I'm sure none of the things that I'm saying are new here, but just the idea of also just developing like Ezahu Ashir Sameach B'Chalko, like just being happy and grateful with what our chelek is to really just start with seeing the growth opportunities and this, not opportunities, but the growth that we have made in our challenging situations. So I have, Baruch Hashem, been zocha to have many miscarriages. And when I first got married and I thought about like the idea of having a miscarriage, it was very scary and overwhelming for me. And I thought like, I don't know how I would ever go through something like that. But when it actually happened, obviously it was very difficult, but I learned so much. And I learned just about understanding pain, understanding what it's like for somebody to go through loss, understanding that even when we go through something difficult, we get to the other side and we can be happy again and we can smile again. Baruch Hashem, I was living in Eretz Yisrael, and I had my first miscarriage in Eretz Yisrael, and it was like during the year that my grandfather was nifter, and it was a baby boy. I was already in my second trimester when I had this loss, and I was very sad that I wasn't going to be able to name this baby after my grandfather. He was a very special person, and I was living. I was living on Rehov Sorotskin with a few other with some people that I knew, and there was a woman there, Mrs. Bassi Einstatter, who lives in Muncie now, but she just felt like there are so many young American women, our husbands are learning, and like there's so much manpower here, and there's so much need in Eretz Yisrael with different families that need help. Let's say like hachnasas kala opportunities, families that are having a hard time and they need food to be cooked for them, or they need babysitters, or they need, I don't know, many different things. And she had this idea of like putting together, kind of matching up all these young Americans some of us were working, some of us weren't working, and matching them up to families or to people who were in need in Eretz Yisrael. And Baruch Hashem, together with her and another person, we were able to create an organization called Chansei Shlomo that was named for my grandfather. And Baruch Hashem is still in existence today. And when I think, I'm not very involved, really not anymore, but I was, obviously in the beginning I was. And when I think about what came as a result of the loss that I had, it's just very incredibly powerful. And so when we can take our struggles and our losses and our challenges, and we can see what we learn and what we understand, and people that come into our lives to help us and to guide us, and the strength that we have and the knowledge and information that we have to help others, is really something that gives a sense of gratitude and appreciation and joy from there's like a joy in that painful growth. And that I feel is like, somebody is like somebody who's wealthy and can appreciate what they have and what Hashem has given them. And that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lamet. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing with us. Do you know, by the way, do you know Zisi Grun?
Yeah.
She also learned that method of,
Right.
Right. She's very big on that method. She speaks about him, that he was life-changing.
Yeah, he really is life-changing.
Wow. So if you want to share with me or with Eliza, and then I can put your information on the group, and then you can, anybody who wants to contact you, I don't know if you're coaching or if you're working with people, I'm not sure, but Bezrat Hashem, we can do that. And thank you so much for sharing. It was very, very beautiful. And
thank you. I think that there was a note on the chat that I didn't get. It was like somebody left a phone number, so I'm not sure.
1 second, let's look. Okay, we're just going to do Shmiras Halashon before everybody gets off. 1 second. I'm going to look for that for you.
I could try to look now.
No, I think it was, I think this was, no, Galina left this for, no, I think it was, people were, okay. So, I will share the information on the WhatsApp group. Okay, just quickly, I'm just going to tell you the Tehillims that you can read today. Erev Rosh Chodesh is 20, 83, 121, 130, and 142. And on that, we're going to do the Shmiras Halashon. I want to thank everybody. I want to also mention quickly that tomorrow we have, I'm going to send the flyer in the group. We have Adina Stillerman, and we also have Baruch Hashem, we have musical Hallel tomorrow, which is amazing. So Baruch Hashem, I will send the flyer so you can see the flyer. And if we can hear the Shmiras Halashon,
we are 19.
I have to get 19? Off. So yeah, I have 19 at 9. Yeah, go ahead. I think we're at 19. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hang on a second.
So just before, because we're gonna have to get off right afterwards. I
Hello
want to
and
thank everybody. Thank Shulamit. Thank Ahavia. I want to thank Chaya and Blima and Basya and Rebbetzin Yagid and everybody else. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Thank you, Naomi.
Thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda, you still sound terrible. Okay, I'll call you later.
To day 19. Today the Chafetz Chaim begins by painting a picture for you. He says, imagine you meet a friend of yours as